Hello? I give you Dean Hossie Cohen.
So, first of all, thanks everybody for coming today. Really fantastic attendance. Our family is here, the gerontology family. And this luncheon is really the scholarship benefactor luncheon. We haven't held it for a bunch of years, and we started it again last year, and it was so popular and such a great event that we're holding it again today, and it's wonderful to see everybody here. So some of you haven't been on campus for a while and haven't heard some of the things that we've been doing. So I have a list here of things I'd like to share with you, which really are some of the incredible accomplishments of the school, the faculty, and the students. And I'll go through them quickly because we are here just for lunch. But I should point out, University Professor Eileen Crimmins was elected to both the U.S. National Academy of Medicine and to the National Academy of Sciences in recognition of her scientific achievements. I should point out, Eileen is the only woman at USC to hold this incredible honor. So we're very proud of her. Vice Dean Kelvin Davis was elected to both the Academy of Europe and the Royal Society of Chemistry and Medicine for his scientific leadership. We joined forces with the city and county of Los Angeles to help launch what we call Purposeful Aging Los Angeles in partnership with, again, the city and the county, and Paul Irving of the Milken Institute Center for the Future of Aging. We've also worked with Assemblywoman Cheryl Brown to launch the California Caregiving Task Force with Professor Kate Wilbur taking the lead on that one. If you walk over to the school, you'll notice that we have a major remodel, which is still going on. We completely redid the ground floor, created a beautiful student lounge that was endowed by the Davis family, and a series of new offices and suites and smart classrooms that I invite you all to take a look at, right next to our beautiful Sophie Davis Gallery. We've also recruited and promoted a number of faculty. We granted tenure to two extraordinary faculty members, Susan Gidenos and Sean Curran. And we hired 6 new tenure-track assistant professors, several of which are here today, including Jennifer Alshire, Berenice Benayoun, Jessica Ho, Andrea Irame, David Lee, and Reginald Tucker Seeley, who was recently crowned as the Schneider Chair in Gerontology. We've been raising a lot of money. Thank you, David, for everything you do to allow us to achieve all these renovations and recruitments and chairs and scientific advances. And we're very close to our original $50 million goal. In fact, that's a completely artificial goal, and we hope to go well beyond that to allow us to continue to advance our mission. So donors like the Davis family and all of you here in the room are really critical for helping us make that possible. And probably the most important thing is not renovating labs and lounges, or not even, of course it's important, all the recruitments, but the most important thing is the students and the scholarships that we raise money for allow these amazing individuals to be here and study gerontology, and that's what today is about. So thank you, all of you who supported that. Your philanthropic support is the backbone of the only freestanding gerontology school in the world. Thank you. And as I speak about these scholarships, I should point out that over half of our students enjoy some kind of scholarship support. It's not that unusual at USC, but it's certainly unique around the country. And we're very proud of how much effort and investment we make in our students. It allows them to have the opportunity to be here and to take advantage of this world-class faculty. Since our last event, we have several new scholarships. We also been able to raise 2 endowed chairs and 1 endowed laboratory, and let me list those. So first, probably the most exciting thing is the Kevin Shu Chair in Gerontology, which is held by Professor George Shannon, both of whom are here. I've got a hand for them. Of course, the Davis gift for the Edward Schneider Chair in Gerontology, held by Reggie Tucker Seeley. That's a great thing. And the Chu family also endowed the Luncheon Chu Laboratory, and that's an important feature of our school. One of the great and especially heartwarming gifts we received is the Luncheon Family Scholarship. And he, you and your family have been such great friends in the school for decades. And I should point out that this gift was enhanced with a generous gift from the ASNF Foundation. We also endowed the Richard A. Lebuff Scholarship. Thank you. The Phyllis and Joseph Meltzer Scholarship. The Donna and Grant Hishima Scholarship. The David Peterson Scholarship. The Arthur A. and Beth White Scholarship with support from the Orange Catholic Foundation. Last but not least, the May, not last but not least, the May Lee May Scholarship. And last for this page, completed just this morning the Victor Rainier Scholarship. Victor, thank you for former dean and a lifelong friend of the school. Really wonderful that we have the opportunity to have a name scholarship after you and your family. So we're grateful for all the generous gifts that all of you have made for all sorts of things, but especially for scholarships. So even though we are a small school in a large university, our students, our faculty, and our staff have some of the brightest minds and biggest hearts in this campus. And some of our students who are here today, are some of the most compassionate and extraordinary students anywhere. And they apply their own interests, passions, and goals to create unique careers and lives that they dream of, lives of service, leadership, and scientific discovery. So let's have a hand to all these students. Because they're part of this family of gerontologists that consider the entire lifespan to be our work. And very few entities or schools in this university or anywhere else can claim that we focus on really a lifespan and the entire human race and the planet, which is affected by this aging issue that we're trying to address and solve. Our studies focus on the science of longevity, healthy aging, creating revolutionary adaptive technology, and helping families navigate difficult transitions. And all of these things are equally important. So all these areas of approach help us to improve the quality of life for older adults and human beings across the lifespan and across the world, and to help us extend health span, purpose, and meaning for everybody at every stage of their life, but especially at the latter years. So thank you, everybody, for your continued support. And I'd like to introduce now our first speaker. She's one of those intelligent and compassionate students that I was talking about earlier. Roberta Peterson, please start walking forward. She received her Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology, and she's currently finishing up her graduate studies at the Leonard Davis School, and will be graduating this spring. She's deeply involved with our own Student Gerontology Association, and is an intern with the Independent Living Systems. Again, let's welcome Roberta Peterson.
Thank you, Dean Cohen, and thank you all for being here today. Again, my name is Roberta Peterson, and I would like to share with you my journey to the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. I began my college journey right out of high school, thinking that I would work in law enforcement, possibly as a Chicago police officer. I'd always wanted to protect the vulnerable and be an advocate for those unable to speak for themselves. I was also a huge fan of the show Law and Order. By my junior year in college, as most students, the direction of my studies changed, and I found myself interested in the field of psychology, with a special interest in understanding people and understanding the impact of life events on them. One of my undergraduate core courses was older adult psychology, and it really captivated my attention. One project focused on older adults in the media, which we were to analyze how they were portrayed. I chose the marketing model, Life Alert. We've all heard the phrase, "Help, I've fallen, and I can't get up." Through my limited research on that project, I found that older women in this instance were generalized as frail and dependent. I felt that people like my grandmother, who was about 80 years old at the time, and managing life pretty well up until then, were sometimes treated unfairly just because of their age. The unfair generalizations opened up my eyes to other issues in the aging field. And I knew I wanted to get involved somehow, making the lives of older adults fair, safer, or better in some way. Although the university I attended did not offer an undergraduate gerontology degree, I supplemented and explored my interests in other ways. I got involved with a geropsychology professor and studied college student views on the aging population, and I selected a skilled nursing facility for my internship program. This will shock you all. I was the only one who elected to work with older adults for credit. Through that internship, I quickly realized how difficult compliance with regulations and care coordination can be. I saw high staff turnover, verbal abuse, and neglect of the residents. At the time, I did not realize the severity of the issues. But as I have studied and I now realize the signs of abuse, I just realized how significant it truly was. It was also an interesting time for me personally. As I was studying aging, I was witness to the effects of aging with my paternal grandmother. My grandfather had passed away a few years before I started college, and I now know that that was a springboard to my grandmother's mental decline. Her zest for life just kind of changed after he passed. She exhibited a gradual decline in mental capacity, stopped driving, stopped cooking, and eventually was not able to live on her own anymore. That's when I was introduced to the challenges of long-term care. The experiences I've had with my grandparents as they aged reinforced my interest in working in the aging field and as a gerontologist. After graduation, I continued pursuing my interest in the field, hoping to gain exposure before deciding on which direction I would take. I enrolled in pre-nursing classes, I shadowed professionals in Chicago, and I worked for a year at a home health care agency. These experiences drove my passion to where it's at now. I saw things I wanted to change in the industry, but I wasn't sure on how to make the impact that I wanted to see. So I found the best place to secure an education from the world leader, the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. Filled with excitement and anxiousness, I made the 5-day journey with my sister from Chicago to LA. And honestly, I'm still shocked at how much I could fit in my car. Being a student at the Leonard Davis School has facilitated the expansion of my classroom education and real-world exposure to the aging field. In addition to completing my degree requirements, I've had considerable opportunities to apply the knowledge that I've gained. I'm presently serving as the Vice President of Alumni Relations for the Student Gerontology Association. This organization has expanded my sense of ability and cultivated friendships that I know will remain into my professional years. I've had the ability to travel overseas with fellow classmates under the guidance of Dr. Neednos, enabling first-hand exposure to ancient burial practices alongside building personal relationships within my cohort. The relationships I've built with professors and faculty have served as a support system, reassuring me that I have the ability to succeed and make a positive impact in this industry. One outcome is that I'm currently interning at Independent Living Systems, acting as project lead developing new learning curriculum for new employees. I've also had the ability to attend conferences and symposiums that have introduced me to experts that I only just used to read about. One of my first research papers, I remember citing Carl Pilmer, founder and director of the Cornell Institute for Translational Research on Aging. My next semester, I was sitting amongst him at the USC Judith D. Tamkin Symposium on Elder Abuse. I've also attended the California Council on Gerontology and Geriatrics conference my first year, and at that next conference, I was speaking in front of the attendees, acting as USC student ambassador. I've also enlightened quite a few Uber drivers on my way to class, as my destination reads Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, which sparks curiosity about what gerontology even is, followed by a request for tips on how to age well. I can honestly say that I never thought that I would be up here today, speaking in front of all of you. But because of the encouragement and support I've received these past 2 years, I now have the education and experience to feel able to make the change I want to see in this industry. After I graduate, I hope to contribute to the field in a number of capacities, ensuring adequate care is delivered to older adults with a concentration in elder abuse prevention and education. Supporters like you allow students like me to have these opportunities through the Leonard Davis School, and for that, we thank you. I hope I did honor to fellow students here this afternoon, and I encourage the student recipients and the generous donors to get to know one another and find out each other's journeys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ro, for sharing this really wonderful story with us. We have plenty more remarks from several people, including from our distinguished chair, which will come up after we eat. But first, please enjoy lunch. And that little weapon that you got, it's not for the chicken.
To see firsthand the return on your philanthropic investment. And I think after listening to Roberta, it's very clear that that's a very high return on our investment. Before we get underway, there's a couple of other board members here that I'd like you to meet. Did Vandana make it? She didn't make it, okay. But we do have Maylene, whom you'll be meeting again later. Dick Oxford, raise your hand here. Keith Rankin, a former board chair. I still haven't been able to fill his shoes, but Keith Rankin. John Sider. And Heidi Cortese. The fascinating things about, I was a former board member, but her dad, Ross Cortese, he was the one who created the concept of Rossmore Leisure World, and he was a visionary, and he was really one of the driving factors to establish the Andrews Gerontology Center and then later the Leonard Davis School. So thank you for that. Now, I get to introduce someone that I think probably everybody in the room knows, but maybe you don't know some of the background. That person is Dr. John Walsh. John started his undergraduate career at UC Irvine in biology. He went on to the University of Texas School of Medicine for his PhD, and he did some postdoctoral work at UCLA. But truly, he was recruited to USC, and there's Trojans in his family. His wife, Julia, got her law degree here at USC, and their son, Matthew, is currently a senior in environmental studies at USC, so he's Trojan through and through. So what is it that John is passionate about? Well, he's passionate about 4 things: family, research, teaching, and the 4th thing we'll get to in a minute. First thing, family. It's not only his immediate DNA relationships, but it's also all of you. It's his Davis School family, it's the Trojan family, and he feels deeply of the core values of respect and support and commitment to family members. Second thing he's passionate about is research. Well, let me tell you something about his research. Think synaptic plasticity. Well, oh, wait a minute. I can't begin to describe his research. I only understand about every 10th word. But I do know that he is passionately engaged in unraveling the mysteries of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's. And I'm so glad that he's doing that. He's been wonderfully successful in attracting grants in support of his work. He's part of the whole neuroscience collaborative here at USC, and they're doing such complex things that my little intellect can't begin to describe to you. And the third thing is teaching. And as a matter of fact, we were just speaking about it. When he talks about teaching, his eyes light up. It was a change from being a researcher to a teacher. And John, to be honest, I think you're what they call a master teacher. It's a gift. He's been honored by many awards for teaching, including the coveted USC Associates Award for Excellence in Teaching. So what's the 4th thing he's passionate about? Does anybody know?
Surfing.
Surfing, absolutely. You cannot take the water away from Walsh. He is definitely an avid surfer. He loves it. They live in Laguna Niguel, so he can be close to the waves. So it's quite a wonderful thing for him to do. So if you put all that together, you put family, research, teaching, and surfing, what do you get? You get exceptional. So I introduce to you the exceptional Dr. John Walsh.
I'm honored and humbled by those words, Sherry. And I want to thank everybody for coming here today. And I want to thank members of the gerontology community who sponsor our amazing students. And I thank you students for the noble commitment to advancing the cause of older people around the world. Yes, I call it noble. It is noble because it's the right thing to do. It's noble because your parents and your grandparents worked hard to get to where you are, and they are now looking to you to help them live rewarding lives into their 90s, at least. This is true for you, and it's true for all of us in terms of our individual families. It's true for older people all around the world that have worked hard their entire lives, and they just want to be able to savor every day and live life to its fullest. Now, on the surface, gerontology is not as sexy a degree, say, as cinematic arts. But the reality is everyone turns to people like us when it is their turn to navigate the aging process. whether it be large communities, governments, or one of your best friends, and yes, even cinematic arts majors who need help with their grandparents, parents, and their own aging. And we're all going to do this, right? Who would we come to in our time of need? We turn to people like you who have devoted your life to this cause. A recent summer report entitled the Harvard Adult Development Study reported, after tracking close to 700 men for nearly 75 years, that the number one thing that is linked to longevity, and more importantly, to good health, was the quality of relationships. This finding was confirmed by an even more massive study by IBM, where they looked at over 20,000 people. And after sifting through all the data, you know what the number one predictor of a healthy, happy, long life was. It was our relationships. It wasn't exercise, it wasn't diet, it wasn't a magic pill, not a drug. No, it was how socially connected we are, how socially supported we are, and importantly, the quality of your relationships. Not that exercise and diet, other things don't matter, but the positive social connection was number one. Of course, the logical connection we all think about is our immediate family. And it can be our genetic family. But sometimes your genetic family can be a bit much. And so you create your own logical family. I have a genetic family, as Sherry referred to, that I care for. But I also have a logical family of people I surround myself with because they make me very happy and because they are supportive and they always have my back. And that is why we're here today. When I look at all those people in attendance, I see family. I see Sherry, I see Maylee, I see Jackie. For a long time. It's great to see you, Jackie. I feel family, gerontology family. We have the same values and we share the same visions. When I look out at the gerontology students, again, I see family. When I get to know the students personally as faculty at the Davis School, and all the faculty feel the same way, it brings us great joy to watch them grow. Not unlike the feeling I feel for my own children as they grow. I feel like I'm the student's faculty papa. And it is really, really rewarding when I get emails years after one of my students has graduated telling me how grateful they are for the training we provided. And we're going to meet with Tyler Evans, a former student of mine soon, that's going to be collaborating with Hasi. That was 20 years ago, Hasi. It's amazing. So yes, they're grateful. And grateful and gratitude, these are powerful words. And having gratitude is a powerful agent of health, much like being socially connected. Students in attendance have extreme gratitude for all of you taking on their cause and believing in them, sponsoring them with a scholarship. And for those that are here that are providing the scholarships, they are extremely grateful to you, the students, that you are taking on their cause, and that you as students have let them in be part of their logical family. I know David and Jennifer, my good friend Maria, Hasi, are extremely grateful to all of you and your involvement in the school, and yes, for being part of their logical family. We all know that aging is not for the faint of heart. There are many phases, transitions that you have to adjust to. As Sherry referred to as I am an athlete, yes. And yes, I'm an avid surfer, and I still attack it like a young man. And I surf places that only young men go to right now. It doesn't seem fair, aging, see it slowly taken away from me. But I always remember what my mom told me. And she said, when I told her about aging not being fair, she said, if you want fair, she said, go to Pomona, go to the Orange County Fairgrounds. You'll find your fair there. Thanks, Mom. But the cause you are taking on is all about making aging more fair. And we heard that earlier today. Making it so the many years of commitment and hard work to my family, to my community, to my health, are fairly rewarded in my golden years. And I thank all of you for that, as for many generations to come.
John reminded me of a quote, I think it was Yogi Berra, who said, aging is mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. And you know, personally, since especially the dedication of the student lounge last month, when I had a chance to talk to a number of you, and I was so impressed that the field is attracting such high quality intellect, and that you're so passionate about it. It was a treat to talk with you about your experiences at the Davis School and to realize how important it is to you as individuals and how much you're truly loving it. That says a world to me. And from my perspective, I'm a grandmother of 5, and I think of what my grandchildren are going to see when they're aging will be an entirely different world, and you'll be leading all of that. It's wonderful to think about. It's in very good hands. Now I have somebody else to introduce you to, and this one's a little bit difficult because we're fellow board members. She's a neighbor of mine, and we share this passion with gerontology, and that's Mei Li Nei. Mei Li has a fascinating background. She was born in China. Her mom worked for the International Monetary Fund, and because of that position, was able to immigrate to the US before the communist takeover. And also because of her mom's IMF position, Mei Li had an opportunity to intern at the World Bank. What an incredible thing to do, start at an organization of that scope. So that whetted her appetite for financial matters. So later, when she married a dashing Hollywood movie star, in her quiet way, she began to intrigue her husband with financial dealings, to the point that he created the Richard Ney and Associates Asset Management, Inc., of which Mei Li continues to be president to this day. Her husband also was an author, and I have a feeling that a number of you of a certain age, we've all read the book, Wall Street Jungle. And he also wrote Wall Street Gang, and also how to make money in the market, which I need to reread. But it's not just the business side of Mei Li. She is passionate, in addition to gerontology. She's passionate about the arts, both visual and performing. She sits on the board of the Otis Art Institute. She is a member of the board of the USC Pacific Asian Museum. She's very involved in the President's Circle at the Huntington Library. She's a founder at the Music Center. She's engaged in opera and the Philharmonic. And she's, as you know, she has endowed a student scholarship here. So the thing about Mei Li is she has this wonderful, gracious way about her, but there's just so much substance there. And I personally am really grateful that I've had the opportunity to become a dear friend. And we try to have lunch from time to time and solve world problems, don't we, Mei Li? So it is with respect and admiration and affection that I introduce you to Mei Li Nei.
I'm taking this off because otherwise I would look like a podium with a head on top. No one ever likes to follow Sherry Thorell, the world's greatest speaker. But I am very glad to have heard Dr. Walsh's comments because he mentioned his mother, and that makes me feel better about bringing in my mother too. When I was growing up, I said to my mother, if I have any money left before I die, I'm going to leave it all to animal causes. And she said to me, if I have any money left over before I die, I'm not leaving any of it to you. Because you're just going to give it away to the animals. And you know, for someone who was raised as a Buddhist, the way my mother was, this is a very bad thing. Because you might know that animals were people who were very bad human beings in their previous life. Well, fast forward, I'm glad that eventually I developed a desire to also aid human causes. And although I probably shouldn't admit it after all those wonderful things Dr. Walsh said about relationships, I still like animals better than lots of people. But I'm very grateful to the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology for helping me discover that one of the things that brings meaning to my life is helping future generations live longer and healthier lives. And that's why I donate to this school. I want to support the best minds in gerontology who are doing the research, making the discoveries to help us improve how well and how long we live. And the students among us today, you are just those people. I'm really excited to be a part of the future you're creating. I have a lot of faith in you. And I also hope that by supporting your education and scholarships and some of your research resources, that I might inspire some of you also to pay it forward someday. And you'll find that by giving and being generous, instead of having less and being diminished, you actually wind up with lots more. Like the incredible people who established this school and led it in the past, and the people who came after to build upon it, and including our wonderful Dean Hasi Cohen, and the staff and faculty who are leading it now. The work they're doing in gerontology, education, and research is leading to discoveries that will help all of us and help the future generations. And by the way, I'm still leaving money to animal causes. I'm just not using any of the money my mother left me. Thank you.
So, Mei Lee had to follow Sherry, I have to follow Mei Lee. I don't know what's harder. And Sherry did such an incredible job introducing you, and I learned a couple of things about you. I thought I knew you. Let me say that, like everybody else, I'm so grateful to you, and it's been such a pleasure to get to know you. Richard King, bless his soul, introduced us, and I'm so proud to say you've become a friend of me and my wife, Lindsay Chung, sitting there, and to the school. So thank you for everything you do, and to the right. In recognition of that, on behalf of the Leonard Davis School, I want to award you the Dean's Medallion. I'm having a hard time here, but I think I can get it. The Dean's Medallion, which is the highest form of recognition I can bestow on someone. And really, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really,
I'm just flabbergasted.
this is sort of like an Olympic medal. hope all of you enjoyed today's event and had great conversations at your tables and made new friends. And thank you again. And we'll see you next year, I hope.